Welcome back to the Wondercat channel, where today we're going to be going over AD1, which is the successor to Resurgence Booster 1. A lot of these cards are going to be reprints, definitely very heavily needed reprints for some decks, especially since some of these cards are quite old. But I wasn't quite sure how we were going to go with making this one in particular, because not only are they reprints, but from what I've seen, a lot of the newer cards as well are all like higher rarity. So what I might do, I might gloss over a couple of the reprints that are good. We're probably going to skip the majority of them if they're not super interesting, I guess. Yeah, and we'll just go from there and see how we go, I guess. Starting off, we have the Terriermon, which is one of my favorite archetypes with our little bunny boys. All turns, your opponents can't gain memory other than by tamer effects. This is going to be much better and constructed. Um, it obviously can be a part of your Makiko Date and Beast Vaccine kind of decks. It doesn't have an inherited, as most of our tax or stacks Floodgate rookies don't have. So it's a little like I feel like I usually cut it when I play this particular card. Next, we have Gazimon. Your opponent can't gain memory other than by tamer effects. Exactly, same thing, but in purple. Again, we got new Gazimon support recently, so yeah, it might be worth playing one or two copies of. Final Zubagon Punch. Now, this one I was pretty excited for. 2 black option. One of your Digimon gets plus 3k until your opponent's turn ends. Then, if that Digimon has 16,000 DP or more, it gains Sec plus 1, reboot, and block until your opponent's turn ends. Now, that is not impossible to do, especially in this format. We have a couple of higher costed level 6s, like Jumbo Gamemon, which already sits at 13k if I remember correctly. And so by being able to play this, you're actually turning your Jumbo Game into not only a defensive beast that can spit out bodies, but Final Zubagon like turns him into a really big threat as well, which is pretty awesome. So I can definitely see myself building a second deck around Jumbo Gamemon using Final Zubagon Punch. We got given a couple of these particular ones. Opponent's turn. Your opponent can't reduce paid Digivolution costs. That's not as relevant in Pauper, I don't think. I've never looked at any of these particular effects and gone like, this is definitely really good. It kind of sucks as well, Cutemon being a yellow vaccine, which should be fairly decent, but the archetype in Pauper just doesn't really have any legs to stand on, because a lot of what makes yellow vaccine good is high rarity. So unfortunately, as cute as Cutemon is, and it's even like another little bunny sort of thing, it's not super great for us. We get a sweet Demonic Disaster reprint, which is going to be great for anyone who wants to build purple, even though it is usually just a 1 or 2 of inclusion. A Sunomon reprint, an egg during your turn, once per turn, when an effect trashes cards from your hand, draw 1, which is not the worst thing in the world. It's not too bad. Definitely usable, especially with the old purple Gabumon lists and such. Madoki Betamon from BT6. Your opponent can't gain memory other than by tamer effects. Again, another one of these Floodgate rookies. Interestingly enough, BT6, I think, was one of those like really overprinted sets, or like a set that like almost nothing from it seems to be super relevant. But I just can't seem to find it like anywhere around me, which is really crazy. But I love Betamon, and Madoki Betamon is just a different kind of Betamon, and yeah, he's a cute boy. So even though I've got my playset, hoping for some amphibian support one day, I like this card. Now, we get the Bukamon reprint from BT7, one of the best blue eggs in the game, at least for Pauper, in my opinion, I think, because blue obviously really wants to go wide by spitting out bodies, and whenever you can just spit out a body for free, gaining a memory is just it's so good. It's free real estate on top of free real estate. I love the art. They have a thing for putting Penguinmon in anything blue, which is kind of funny. And of course, we get a really sweet gold border. So if I were to purchase any of this product, I'd be really hoping I pulled some of these in gold foil, which would be really nice. We get a Doraemon reprint from BT7 again, one of our better eggs when effects add cards to this Digimon's Digivolution stack. Draw one. So, yeah, really good for X antibody, obviously. And I use it a lot in my Ex Machina list, or I use it as my egg for Ex Machina because this card combos particularly well with Altea, being able to throw cards underneath into your stack at the start of your turn, which is really, really sweet just for that extra card draw. You're making your stack bigger and you're drawing extra cards. Oh, love it. We get both Kokuamon and Psychemon, two more Floodgate rookies. I love the Psychemon art so much. Again, it's Koki art. Psychemon is just, I don't know. I think this kind of color scheme and just the skull and like Gabumon's already pretty cool. Like I will admit, I'm biased towards like dinosaurs and that, so I feel like I should like Agumon more. But it's always like a, who do you like more, Agu or Gabu? I love the color scheme of Gabumon, but I think Psychemon really just turns that up to 11 and kind of makes him look like that really sweet, shiny kind of variation. So yeah, I love this art. I love Psychemon as a Digimon, and yeah, really sweet to see this card being reprinted as well. Fire Rocket. Now, this card is definitely interesting. I have covered it in the 5-check Machine Dramon list. A 1-cost red option. While you have a Digimon with armor form, you can ignore its color requirements. One of your multicolored Digimon gains security +1 for the turn. Now, this is incredibly strong, especially because a lot of our top end pieces, a lot of level 6s that we actually build around, are usually 2-color. And this is to make sure that our level 5 lineups that we build with can be a bit more flexible. Like if we're looking at okay, let's use our lovely bunnies list for example. All our level 5s are Antilamons, and if they're both yellow and green, then that gives us access to yellow and green level 6s, right? And if it is both yellow and green, then all of a sudden our level 6s are 12k bodies usually with sec +1 for only 1 memory, and that's pretty damn good. Security effect, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with blocker. Yeah, I mean, it's not, like, probably only good into black, like, let's be honest, but still a really cool card. And again, it's kind of in that sweet spot. BT6, BT8 as well was really weird not to get as well. I found a lot of BT7 around, but BT6 and BT8 just, yeah. So, yeah, really cool reprint. Crimson Blaze, one of the best like removal spells, I guess, in the game, and helps Stonewall decks. For each of your opponent's Digimon, reduce this card's use cost in the hand by 1. Your opponent's effects can't play Digimon until their turn ends, then delete all of your opponent's Digimon with 6k DP or less. So this removes all the floodgates, it stops them from popping off and just like comboing, playing tons of free bodies. Like, it is a great just do nothing for a turn kind of card. And considering that not only is it just 6 cost, it's reduced by how wide your opponent's board is going. And the fact that you could play this with the BT23, I'm going to say, I'll stick it up on screen, the Wargrey, meaning like you can benefit heavily off playing a reduced cost Wargrey level 6 and then playing this to blow them all up as well, which is pretty funny. All things considered. So, yeah, this, if I could get extra copies of Crimson Blaze, I will definitely be throwing them into my Agumon list, probably. And I think we do have a nice, no, we do not. We don't have a nice gold one. But yeah. Now, this Pomumon, a great inclusion again, another Floodgate. Players can't play Digimon by effects. Now, green isn't super big on it. I know the most recent addition to the support for Terramon does have some cool spitting out bodies by suspending itself and such, but green has never really been super great at that, I should say, at least in regards to other colors. So Pomumon, being able to play Pomumon in a deck or two can really be like that difference maker Floodgate if you really want to try and sneak out some wins. I played a couple of these in my Argo control list a couple of formats back. This was around EX9-ish. And I was winning games. Just like between this and Medigallant, you can really lock down a board. So Pomumon, Um, love to see that he's getting a reprint here. One of the most anticipated reprints so far is probably going to be X Antibody. Now, this card was hitting almost, I think it was like almost 10 Australian dollars at one point. I think even when I started playing at the start of 2025, it was almost $15 for a copy, and then it dropped around to about 10. And then with the alt art Evo Cup foil, I believe it dropped a little more. I think it settled around $5. But with this particular reprint, we're hoping it only becomes $1 or two. This card is really, really necessary for certain archetypes, especially in Pauper, for us to really get some good value out of it. Just the fact that we have a couple of X antibody lines that are in the uncommon and common rarity slots means that if we can run X antibody and that lineup, and we don't have to spend an extra 10-20 bucks for a playset or whatever, like why not? So very hyped to see this card reprinted. It's going to be it would have been very difficult for anyone who hadn't been in the game since BT9 to really get into it, especially if they didn't want to fork out the extra cash for the Evo Cup foils and whatnot. So yeah, really good reprint here. We get the Demi Vmon egg. When attacking once per turn, if you have a green Digimon, draw one. Honestly, I'm not even going to say I don't even think this is the Demi V that the Paildramon deck uses. But, it's a Demi Vmon. Demi Vmon's cute, so I'll take it, I guess. BT12's Vmon, which I know these were actually in very short supply. There was a guy at my locals that had played this deck, and I knew two people who also wanted to build it. And these cards were so impossible to find, man. Like, just to get two playsets of this Vmon as a common was just so difficult to source. But I love the art. The art's really cool. I love it really shows off like Vmon's personality, especially if you're considering the anime and Davis's Vmon. So yeah, cool. Like it. Good reprint. We get the X Vmon that allows us to DNA, gaining extra memory and stuff. So yeah, that's not too bad. And then of course we get its alt art, which, look, I'm not particularly fan of the throw photo of anime into a card and just be done with it. I think it's very, very lazy. This does not look appealing to me, even though it is a full art. Like I will take this in foil, in gold, like even regular art over this any day of the week, and I like my decks being foiled. So, it's a little unfortunate, but I'm not a super big fan of Paildramon's playstyle. So even if I did want to build, or even though I do like the Vmon line, I still probably wouldn't purchase these. And we start getting into the Shine Greymon stuff. So we get a Agumon that reveals things. It's not super bad, I guess. We get the Geo Grey that allows us to play a Marcus Daemon from hand if you do not control one, which again isn't too bad, I guess. We get a nice gold one here. With our Vmon, we of course are going to get the Wormmon reprint, which, I mean, they go hand in hand. And if the set's promoting, certain decks, and of course you should get all the pieces you need for it. We get the opposite side to X Vmon as well, which is of course Stingmon, saying if it would DNA into a blue Digimon, gain a memory. So, yep, again, we're just got to make sure we're not leaving any of our core out of the reprint area. And of course, again, we have the alt art version of Stingmon, which just doesn't do it for me, unfortunately. We get another Agumon reprint. BT13s. For the turn, one of your Marcus Daemons is also treated as a 3k body and can't digivolve. And once per turn, when any of your red or yellow tamers suspend, you may delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3k DP or less. Now, I really like this particular inherited. It's just unfortunate that, like, it's not super great within our format. So, I like the card. The art's cool, but not super great for us anyway. Especially if we consider the fact that we still don't have a viable Marcus to play with. So yeah, not super ideal, but it is what it is. We also this is kind of funny. We also get the reprint of Geo Grey, which is limited to one. When digivolving, search your security stack. You may play one red or yellow tamer card among it without paying the cost. If this effect played, recover one, then shuffle your security stack. Now, I love the idea of being able to play with this particular card because it also works with Rhythm. Being able to play Rhythm and then Rhythm caring about yellow Digimon with Greymon in their names. Um, I have Hmm. I have tried hard to make a list that could use the like Geo Gray line and Rhythm, but it is so difficult, man. It is really hard. Nonetheless, it's interesting they wanted to include this with it being limited at one. I also don't think it really needed to be reprinted. BT13 is pretty easy to get, I think. And considering that this is limited, people are going to have like copies upon copies of this card, and would be you should be handing them out like very easily. It just seems like a bit of a waste of space here for this set anyway. We get our BT13 Rise Grey as well, being able to play a Marcus Damon from hand, and whenever your red or yellow tamers are deleted, you can place a Marcus Damon from your trash as a top security card. So obviously the idea is you're being able to push up one of your Marcuses, you swing into security. If it dies, you just throw it back into your top security, and then when your opponent would swing into your security, oh look, you get your Marcus back. It's cool. Not a bad card. Again, it's a commons, which is cool. So like, it's a cool card, but we just don't have the common Marcuses. Like, please, Bandai, come on. I want to play this deck so badly in this format. Like, it's unfortunate. We do get an interesting alt art for it, and it's been given some very questionable nicknames. Again, not a super big fan of it, all things considered, but yeah, some people will like it, so that's what matters, I guess. Mekamon will get a reprint on play draw one, and you may place a Digimon card with Royal Knights. This isn't going to be relevant at all. You can't really play Royal Knights in this format because it's all just super rares and secrets and stuff. So yeah, interesting. Like and I guess we know like it is one of the decks that is getting support, which is obviously why they reprinted this. But yeah, not super relevant for us anyway. We get probably and arguably the best red egg printed in BT14's Koromon. When your opponent's security stack is removed from, just draw one. The fact that this doesn't have to be a when attacking effect, meaning that obviously you can have this underneath a Digimon, swing with a second Digimon. Your second Digimon can die. It doesn't, and you still get to get that extra draw. So this Koromon's incredibly strong. And we got given a sweet gold foiling version of it too. So yeah, I assume that if this egg continues to be one of the go-to staples for red decks, both in constructed and pauper, these will probably be worth a few bucks. So yeah, pretty cool. Another Gotsumon Floodgate rookie effect. Players can't play Digimon by effects. This saw quite a bit of success in playability in the meta red decks where they would pop off and possibly just end their turn by playing Gotsumon. So you get to do everything you want to do, and then you just jam this and say, all right, well, if you can't remove it, then bad luck for you, I guess. I like Gotsumon, so yeah, cool to see him here. We see some more Demi Vmon stuff, just helping get through some more of the armor rush bits and pieces. I don't think I've ever seen Toge Mogumon being played. It is a really interesting card for this format. I mean, like being able to play with armor purge, and the fact that you could play like a level 4 rush style deck with between armor purge and fire rocket, because obviously fire rocket cares about whether or not you have the armor form trait. So you could kind of just go like 4 5 color bloody armor trait, like swing with level 4s for sec plus 1 every turn or whatever, and hopefully they don't die on the first swing. And even if they die on the second security check, you just armor purge back to a level 3, and then you can go back up to a level 4. It's pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, again, BT16 wasn't really printed all that long ago. I know it was a box that had a very high EV because of the playability and how many people liked the cards in it. So, whilst the bulk for it should be very easily available, but you're not going to find any packs or any of the high rarity cards floating around anytime soon. So, yeah, it's cool to see this one reprinted at least, I guess. Miraculous Mega Knight. Now, this card's very, very strong for Omnimon decks. You can play a Agumon or Gabumon from your hand or trash, then place this card in the battle arena area. So, security, you may play a card with Tai Kamiya or Matt Ishida in its name from your hand or trash without paying the cost, and add this card to the hand. Again, this is a really cool card for Constructed, but for Pauper, not so much, especially because even though you might be getting that extra uh like memory reduction on being able to play one of your rookies from trash, it's still kind of cool in its own way. Um, you're not DNAing into Omnimon. Like half this card is wasted, so it's kind of a mid card, all things considered. Definitely being printed for constructed play. And of course, we do get a really nice gold foiling for it. And this card does look pretty awesome in full gold. I will admit. Return to the Progenitor, some more support for the Paldramon deck. This card got a really sweet alt art printed in one of the newer promos for like a GP or something. I can't remember. But yeah, card's cool. Again, it's kind of one of those cards that suffers from it's fairly strong, but just not super relevant to our particular format. Awakening of the Sun was also reprinted, being able to play a Marcus, again, not relevant, or a Rhythm from your hand or trash without paying the cost. And then when any of your tamers are deleted or returned to the hand, delay it. Says one of your Digimon may digivolve into a Digimon card with Shine Grey in its name in the hand without paying the cost. And security effect, you may play a card with Marcus or Rhythm in its name from your hand or trash, and then place this card in the battle area. So I've thought about playing one or two of these as well because again, one of the big issues with Rhythm is the fact that it's a 4-cost tamer that can generate you good value. Being able to suspend, gain 1 memory, and draw a card every turn off it is really cool. But like 4 memory, a 4 memory tamer that relies on you having to do something to suspend it. It's not a memory setter. It's not a if your opponent has a Digimon gain a memory, like you need to work and build around it for it to be good. And Awakening of the Sun, whilst being a pretty cool card, can't really work in Argo. And if we were to play it with Rhythm, again, we don't have a super great top end for this deck, and we don't have a Shine Greymon currently, Pauper legal. So, yeah, unfortunate, but yeah, it is what it is. BT21 Koromon gets a reprint, the hero variant. During your turn, once per turn, when any of your yellow or red tamers suspend, draw 1. I like this Koromon art. I like this card in general. I love yellow Koromons. They're very cute. I don't know, to be fair, because we have we have a couple of potential hero eggs, and but like if you gotta choose between Koromons, I feel like the card draw just on attack, removing security just feels better. Obviously, this is gonna work more with the Marcus Damon stuff, but I don't know. I guess it depends on the player. In Pauper, yeah, it's okay, I guess. But again, it's going to be a lot harder to build around because we don't have a dedicated shell that we can really use it in at the moment. So Gamamon is going to get a few extra pieces, some nice little gold prints. I love the art for this card. Beetle Gamma, not too bad. Just playing heroes out and whatnot. Again, some questionable alt arts from TV show art, whatever. But yeah, interesting. We get Shoutmon stuff playing like cross heart and stuff, so that's pretty interesting. This card seems fairly decent, and I have thought about playing around it a little bit. So, this reprint's it's fine. Like it's okay. Whether or not I can get a Shoutmon deck to work though, we'll have to see in the future. But this definitely is a good piece of that deck to be reprinted, and yeah, it's an uncommon, so you can get foils of it too. So yeah, interesting. This Lydramon makes its appearance. I absolutely hated this thing when I'd play into Paildramon. A 2 cost Digivolution on Vmon with Piercing, Armor Purge. You'd suspend something, it gets plus 2k. So it usually is able to just delete any 4k level 4, sometimes even a level 5 for swinging. It gets a security check. If it dies, it doesn't matter. It's got Armor Purge. Then you just play a level 4 that's green or blue and you DNA into Paildramon. You keep doing things like this Lydramon's definitely a sweet inclusion to the deck. It's a pretty solid reprint for the deck. Um, Not much else to say there. One of the biggest bonuses of this set has got to be the EX2 Gigimon printing. This egg was like, I think it got up to like 10 plus dollars. I'd have to double check that. I'll pop up the price point on the screen for you. But the fact that this card hadn't been reprinted since EX2 is very, very wild. Adorable art. Absolutely adorable. When attacking once per turn, if this Digimon has Guilmon, Growlmon, or Gallantmon in its name, draw one. So this obviously was also very strong because of the fact that it included Guilmon in name too. So even your rookies, like you basically had a your own version of Koromon, and with all the Guilmon stuff, like specifically wanting to digivolve on Gigimon for a reduced cost or a cost of 0. This Gigimon was basically like the de facto best in slot Gigimon to play for like basically every single Gallantmon list. So this one getting a reprinted, very very needed. This is definitely a win, and because it has an alt art that's incredibly expensive, we get a nice gold version as well, which, depending on the price, I might pick up a couple of these just for my Gallantmon collection. We also get the Guilmon, just a little shout out, Guilmon the Rare, which was also printed in the starter deck, the Searcher. So I just love this art. So I wanted to mention this little fella getting a reprint too. So yeah, love it. It's very cute. We also get the Rush Gil, who had to die for our sins because the Megidramon combo deck was just far too strong because it was able to abuse the heck out of this card, being able to summon it back multiple times a turn and just swinging for Rush. And um, yeah, so unfortunately, our boy is limited, but that's okay because, we get to see him again, and Gilmon's not being left behind. Now, touching on one of our X antibody lines, we have our Growlmon X antibody as well as the Wargrowl X antibody inclusion. So the fact that we get X antibody and their the Gilmon line in this set is definitely very strong, especially because, obviously Gallantmon is one of the supporting decks for this set. So yeah, it's really cool to see that we've got given the X antibody line as well to support with, and you don't have to go back and look for EX8 bulk. And again, a little shout out, even though we have an alt art to Gallant X, we get given a really sweet gold variation. I love the fact that the border kind of blends into the top of the card and his swipe kind of goes through the top there. So I'm a big fan. This looks absolutely gorgeous. Though I guess a lot of these gold cards are going to depend very heavily on how the cards look in person. Because if they're not like embossed, if it's just like the gold itself and there's no real kind of detailing in it, it might be a bit of a letdown. But I guess we'll see. If the bordering looks embossed and a bit thicker, then these cards could definitely sell me more than what they already are to some extent. And you know that's about it. I skipped over a couple of bits, a couple of cards, some of the floodgates because I didn't want to go through them all, and obviously they all have very similar effects and whatnot. But yeah, there are 0 new cards for our format, but plenty of new stuff for people to go through, and with some nice gold printings if you want to upgrade the how your deck looks. Um, yeah, I mean, you know, that's something you can do, and I do think this is obviously going to sell very well for people who do enjoy constructed, especially for newer players, because again, this is a set that is promoting several deck archetypes. The Omnimon deck, the Gallimon deck, the Gammamon deck, a lot of a lot of red, right, and the Paldramon list, of course. So yeah, um, all in all, you know, some very much needed reprints, some pretty good reprints. Sadly, no new cards. But if you are looking to deck build and you might play or you might look towards playing Pauper on the side, you might still be playing Constructed, who knows? You know, obviously that's up to you. But you can see this as a great way to help get into the format with some of these staples, or you can see it as a way to upgrade how nice and pretty your decks already look. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for the listening to the rambling, and I will see you in the next video. Ta-ta.